So I consider myself a self-taught artist. The self-taught aspect refers to how I took the initiative to actively seek out tools and resources to learn and grow outside the confines of a specific curriculum, classroom, or individual telling me what to do. I learned through how-to books, YouTube videos, observation, and above all, practice and experimentation. There are so many free resources out there that can help you get to the level you want. Need a little more info? Let me go into a bit more detail and give you some of my tips and suggestions. First off, reading how-to books. How-to books are so helpful and are what I use to learn how to draw before I ever learned from videos. There are so many out there that really break down the basics and give very thorough and helpful step-by-step instructions. Also, I'm an extremely visual person, so to be honest, most of the time I would just follow along with the pictured instructions and rarely read the text. So if you don't like reading, these books are still very useful to you. You can find them all over the place, and there are so many that teach you how to create in specific ways. Now, I know you're probably thinking, well, I can just watch a video on it or Google it. True, but the nice thing about books as opposed to videos and the internet is that you're less likely to get distracted and lose focus on your goal. There are no ads or suggested videos that will end up taking you down an internet rabbit hole, just the book and the info in it. This way you are able to better focus on learning and following along without the temptation to click up next or swipe up. Now, videos. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram Reels, Pinterest, you have dozens of free resources for watching tutorials at your fingertips. Just look up how to fill in the blank and you're sure to find something. If I wanted to learn something, I just Googled it and watched a video on how to do it. I followed along and really soaked up their tips and instructions. Watch as many videos on different techniques as you can, follow along with tutorials, pay close attention to process videos, and repeat. Observation and imitation. Observing the work of artists you admire is super effective and beneficial. This is simply looking closely at artwork you like and thinking about how they created it. Take note of everything you see, the colors, shapes, lines, textures, etc. Then try and replicate it as best as you can. By observing and imitating the work of others, you can learn new techniques and get better at different skills much faster than you think. Obviously, be mindful when imitating other artists. It is for the sole purpose of learning and practicing. You do not have any right to claim their work as your own. If you share what you created, always be sure to credit the original artist. A helpful exercise is to find art that you love that you are interested in recreating. Recreate it as closely to the original as you can, then try and create something entirely your own in the same style. For example, I would use one of my own photos as inspo and recreate that photo in the style of the artist I was studying. Now, this should go without saying, but practicing is hands down the best way you can learn anything, period. You can do all of the above steps and recommendations, but if you don't consistently practice and experiment, you'll get nowhere. I'm not bluffing when I say that I practiced almost every single day since I was about 10 years old. I did it because it was enjoyable to me and I wanted to continue to improve. Because I practiced, I improved at a pretty fast rate. Now I'm going to give you some tips that should help you even more. Learn to create what you are interested in and focus on that. If you are determined to create realistic landscapes, focus on learning how to do that. If you want to learn manga or comic style art, do that. If you want to create abstracts, do that. To be an artist, you don't have to learn the classical techniques of old masters. I never had any interest in learning to paint like them, so I didn't force myself to study them. Don't waste your time learning to create things that don't interest you and that you don't like creating. Seriously, what's the point in that? Plus, you're more likely to give up if you keep forcing yourself to create stuff that doesn't feel good or excite you. Don't compare yourself to others. This one is difficult and something you'll always struggle with because everyone does. But especially when you're starting out, try to remind yourself to not compare your work to someone else's. Get feedback from people with good artistic sense and that you trust, and learn from your mistakes, but don't compare your first artwork to someone else's 200th. Obviously, there's going to be a difference because they have had more practice and knowledge than you have. Only compare your recent work to your past work. Has it improved? What can you work on? Have grace for yourself and don't give up. Number 3, try new materials. Trying new mediums is not only fun and exciting, but it helps expand your skills and understanding of creating art. It will also help you discover what you like to create with most. Sticking to only one medium can limit your potential and keep you from discovering something you love more. I started with graphite pencil, then color pencil, then dabbled with some marker, oil paint, watercolor, acrylic gouache, digital, collage, pen, pastel, charcoal, ink. I've tried it all. I experimented with combining them, tried different styles and more until I began settling on improving in the mediums I found the most joy in. Number 4, keep record of your progression. All growing up, I would date each artwork I created. It's so satisfying to look back at your old work and see how far you've come. Sometimes I do this when I need a little boost of encouragement and confidence. I highly recommend you put the date somewhere on your creation so you can track your progression. Number 5, invest in quality supplies. If you are serious about getting better at art, invest in high quality materials. I'm not saying to go spend hundreds of dollars on the most expensive set out there right off the bat, but the quality of the materials you use really does impact your art making experience and the outcome. I can say from experience that it's much easier to improve if you are using high quality materials. To sum everything up, ways you can teach yourself art are reading how-to art books, videos, observation and imitation, and practice. Focus on creating what you enjoy and are interested in. Don't compare yourself to others, try new materials, keep a record of your progression, and invest in high quality supplies. I hope these suggestions and tips are helpful for you and encourage you to get out there and start creating. Remember that learning takes time and you can only get better the more you practice at it. Have grace for yourself and keep going. As always, thank you for being here and thank you for watching. I'll catch you later.